Oh, very good. Very comfortable. So today, as I mentioned yesterday, in order to the proper practice Buddha Dharma, the whole Buddhist practice is with sort of combination of Buddhist philosophy. That philosophy entirely based on reality. So yesterday, I touched the reality and the philosophical part. Today, now the third part, on the basis of these things, then how to implement or practice now. The practice level, one, as I mentioned yesterday, a 37 practice. That's a common Pali tradition as well as Sanskrit tradition. So I may explain little that. Then the Sanskrit tradition, another word, the Bodhisattva Yana, the real emphasis is altruism. Because you see, you develop genuine, very serious sort of sense of concern of infinite sentient beings' well-being, then the practical level, firstly, you should develop certain sort of energy, certain sort of, in ordinary way, certain kind of equipment in order to effectively serve other. So then, the 6 parameters. Then, they're ultimately all-knowing. Without that, our effort, our service, in any way limited. And now here, the service mainly means helping other people, not material. Of course, in some extent, material, like dana, also you see helping material thing. But main thing is try to eliminate the other sort of, the ignorance, like that, various level of ignorance. In order to do that, the other's mental disposition should know. Otherwise, your side, with sincere motivation. Now, for example, one sort of crime, the Buddhist vow, one precept, Buddhist vow, is those person who not sort of ripe about the shunyata view. You sort of just tell the shunyata view, that's lojang masha simjang la tongbo ni tematangs zalungchik.
So it is considered one of the defeats to teach emptiness to an unsuitable vessel or recipient. So
I think one lady, I think here, yesterday expressed to me, little sort of frightened, isn't it? You. Many years ago, I think 15, 20 years ago, one Bihari teacher, very educated person, he eventually developed his interest about Buddhism, and he followed Buddhist practice and ordained actually from me. Then one day he told me he feels very difficult the concept of anathema theory. So when he think about that, he actually shivering, darn,
Shivering.
shivering. He feel very uncomfortable. Then I told the emptiness or anathema, particularly the emptiness, means this is something like one side of the coin. One side is empty, absence of independence, absence of independent existence. Because absence of independent existence create the place, the possibility of interdependency. If things exist independently, no other cause effect. So the very sort of nature of absence of independence, it sort of create possibility of influence or impact from other sort of
Factors.
other factors. Then again, due to obviously other factors is there, so obviously no longer independent existence. So these two things are, you see, one coin's two faces. I told, you see, that monk, Bihari monk, then he, little sort of more comfortable. So this is not only, you see, these sort of kasota. I mean, today's case, even during Nagarjuna, even Buddha's own time, say, Buddha state, substitute as in Dimache, digital church coin, Sula Danja call Minive, Mimin Nas, Mima Najana never chance.
So Buddha himself said, I have found a teaching which is so precise, which is free of elaboration, and which is in the nature of clear light and non-composite. But whoever to whom I try to teach this is unable to understand it properly. So therefore, I will just shun away from the rest and abide in the forest by myself.
세상 고불루두기 그래 자신을 말해. 가서 천지 설시 교의 지당의 식도 문제데 간다 천지 띵바가와 지고 녀도 사고 차인지잖아요. 남산디 시그마레스 로셔버즈 시그마레스 근데 인도전에 대 투브 최전에 로그인 조사지. 어떻게?
So Ayya Nagarjuna also said that since this concept, this reality of emptiness, the ultimate reality of all phenomena, is so profound to unsuitable recipient, if this is taught, then this is not fit for them. And because of that, Buddha himself also chose not to teach this profound emptiness to unsuitable recipient.
So I think since Buddha sort of the Panchaparamita Sutras teaching, I think up to now, you see, that topic to many people, that is too extreme or too near nihilism. So Buddha also, you see, express this body is our karada, kuru.
It's like the Lord.
The self is the carrier of the load. So this implicates Atma. So the main sort of theme of Buddha Dharma is anathema. But according to the audience, different mental circumstances, Buddha compelled to say, there is carrier beside the load. So implication is separate, body, mind, and self. So Buddha, I think we can say Buddha was sort of realistic person. So see the other's sort of mental sort of disposition. So therefore, say one person, Buddha, Gautam Buddha, in his teaching, different views about ultimate reality he mentioned. This I often use it telling. These sort of contradictory different views taught by Buddha, one single person, certainly not sort of out of his own confusion. Buddha enlightened one. So there's no basis of confusion in his own or drunk person. So one day say something, next day say something, not like that. No, Buddha deliberately taught different philosophical view in order to create more confusion among his followers. Certainly not. Compassionate person. So never do that. So then the answer is, Buddha taught different philosophical view according the audience mental disposition. Clear. So therefore, in order to carry sort of the teaching effectively according to their mental sort of disposition, you have to develop the all-knowing. Without that, although you've done your best, but not very sure whether really benefit or not very sure. So that's the reason, in order to serve infinitely sentient being for long run, you should equip the all-knowing, that knowledge. So that's Buddhahood. So in order to serve other people, you should try to achieve Buddhahood. I think like ordinary sense, like in order to teach others up to university level, first you yourself study well and get all the qualification to carry professorship or something to teach others. So similar way. So that, since you see, main concern is others, not oneself. Therefore, right from the beginning, you see, thinking is all sentient being, so infinite, vast. Then also the time.
So the duration that takes to
achieve that
reach
goal.
That goal.
The limitless eons. So the courage, immensely, very strong. One Shantandeva's prayer, which I very much sort of fond of. I always recite that. Roughly, rough translation. So long space remain, so long sentient beings suffering remain, I will remain in order to serve them. So that kind of sort of courage, really tremendous sort of courage. So therefore, and then you see result, not just moksha, mere, purified one single person's, some level of ignorance, not complete. So the Buddhahood completely sort of eliminated all sort of traces of ignorance. So the result also you see differences. Therefore, Maitreya Buddha or Maitreya Bodhisattva describe in his Dodikyen.
Sutra Alamkara.
Sutra Alankara, he mentioned the differences, so-called Hinayana and Mahayana. Because of these reasons, that part called compare the path which think oneself mainly. Compare that, this is more vaster, so greater vehicles mentioned. But that does not mean, sometimes we have the sort of impression, Hinayana is something lower. Sometimes we call, we are Mahayanist, a little bit higher. That's wrong. The Hinayana or Theravada tradition is the foundation, as yesterday I mentioned, foundation. Without that, we can't we can't take sort of progress. So the Vinaya teaching, Pali teaching is the foundation. So now today, I also is going to explain something about Mahayana. So at the beginning, the main sutra text of Mahayana, the Panchaparamita Sutra. So Panchaparamita Sutra, at least translated into Tibetan, I think around 30. Some are very short. The shortest is just one word, That is Panchaparamita Sutra. Means none, right?
Negation.
Negation. These appearances, looks from objectively, that's nothing exists. So, then it is some few shlokas, 100 shlokas, 1,000 shlokas, 100,000 shlokas, or 10,000, 20,000 shlokas,
Stanzas.
like that. So now Heart Sutra. Our Indian Guru. So please recite in Sanskrit. So you have text?
Yes.
One time in Japan, the Japanese, they always used to recite the Heart Sutra in Japanese language. Of course, the Chinese and Vietnamese, Korea, everywhere they used to recite. So one occasion, a ceremony, they asked me, I recite the Kasa, Heart Sutra in Tibetan. They one whole, all the members there in the very center, little bit empty space, and I sit there and recite. So with people, I can recite easily. But my alone, then Heart Sutra, there are some similar words. So my sutra goes like that, round, round, round. So at some
point. At some point.
some point, then I
His Holiness has to deliberately add it.
So with paper, then no danger, such danger. But okay, yes, recite.
Om Anirodham Manutpadam Manuchadam Ashashvatam Anekarthamananarthamanagmamam Manirgamam Yah Pradita Samadpadam Prapanchopashmang Shivam Deshyama Sambhastang Vande Vadatavarnam Pragya Paramita Hridaya Sutram Namah Sarvyaya Aravlukiteshvara Bodhisattva Gambhirayang Pragya Paramitayang Charyang Charmano Vavlokyati Sma Panskanda Hatashang Sabhashunyan Pashyati Sma Yashariputra Rupam Shunata Shunata Varupam Rupan Pratak Shunata Shunatayana Pratak Rupam Yadrupam Sa Shunataya Shunata Tadrupam Evameva Vedana Sangya Sanskara Vijnanani यह शौर्यपुत्र सर्वधर्माः शून्यता लक्षणा अनुत्पन्ना अनिरुद्धा अम्ला न विमला नो नाना परिपूर्णः तस्मचौर्यपुत्र शून्यतायां न रूपं न वेदना न संज्ञा न संस्कारा न विज्ञानानि न चक्षुश्रोत्रघ्राण जीवा काया मनासिं न रूप शब्द गंधस्य स्पृष्टवय धर्माः न चक्षुधातुर्यावन् मनोधातु न विद्या न विद्या न विद्याक्षयो न विद्याक्षयो यावन् जरामरणं न जरामरणं क्षयो न दुःख समुदय निरोध मार्ग न ज्ञानं न प्राप्तिव्यं बोधिसत्त्वस्य प्रज्ञापारमितामाश्रित्य विहरति चित्तावरणः चित् आवरण नास्तित्वात् त्रस्तो विपर्यसात् कान्तो निष्ठनिर्वाणः त्रयः वसताः सर्वबुद्धाः प्रज्ञापारमितामाश्रित्य अनुत्तरां सम्यक् सम्बोधि अभिसम्बुधाः तस्मात् ज्ञातव्यः प्रज्ञापारमिता महामन्त्रो महाविद्यामन्त्रो अनुत्तरमन्त्रो असंसं मन्त्रः सर्वदुःखप्रशमनः सत्यमित्त्वात् प्रज्ञापारमिताया मुक्तो मन्त्रः तद्धा गते गते पार्गते पार्संगते बोधि स्वाहा गते गते पार्गते पार्संगते बोधि स्वाहा गते गते पार्गते पार्संगते बोधि स्वाहा इति प्रज्ञापारमिता हृदयसूत्रं समाप्तम् प्रज्ञापारमितां बोधो शुभरत्नाकरे स्वयं सर्वपारमितास्तत्र तदात्मनं व्यवस्थिताः निष्प्रपञ्चा निराभाषा निर्विकल्पा निरालयाः निस्वभावा परा सूक्ष्मा बिन्दुनादविवर्जिता प्रज्ञापारमितां माता सर्वबुद्धोदया परा त्रयाणुपलब्धिरूपा सर्वज्ञानगोचरा निरालम्बा पदे प्रज्ञा निरालम्बा महाकृपा एकीभूताः देया साधर्म गगने गगनं यथा.
Thank you. Now I recite one little bit of one shloka praising the Shuddha.
Praising the Prajnaparamita Sutra.
Not sutra. Prajnaparamita.
The wisdom of perfection.
Yes, that's right. 말씀 좀 싫어 바래 좀 마제명가 나게 뭐 소소라리 시지 뭐 조성자회 용라 차차로 Now the mantra of Heart Sutra, they are tha gati gati parangati parasamgati buddhiso. The meaning, they are tha didati is kasurita.
It is as such.
Gati gati songshi songshi.
Go beyond.
Go beyond. Well, gati gati parangati parasamgati.
Go further beyond.
Then buddhiso shisoku.
Establish Buddhahood.
So that the rest of the sort of text explaining about shunyata. Then this mantra, you see, mentioned, if you practice or meditate on shunyata with combination of bodhicitta, then your mental state gradually uplift. That means go further, go kasada. Further beyond. Then finally, Buddhahood. So, suppose we are trying to improve our mental state, step by step. Buddha himself experienced that way, and Nagarjuna, and many Tibetan lamas. It's quite sort of quite obvious, according to their own sort of writings or expressions, or something very clear. Unless they develop certain sort of inner experience, then you cannot express such things. So it is very clear. Then some cases they also, you see, is showing miracle power like that. Even my own generation, you see, some people have some extraordinary sort of experience. So it is possible. Now, the main reason, the possibility of these things are we have to study about the reality, about the science of mind. Then philosophy. Through that way, you gradually get some sort of feeling. Oh, it can be. It can be possible. According to our own sort of daily mental sort of experience. The step by step, the right view, right understand, with effort, some change. So this sort of mantra say the procedure, manners of development, on the basis of practice of shunyata and bodhicitta, like that. So now, firstly, Changcho Sodu.
37 auxiliary paths to enlightenment.
As I mentioned earlier, mentioned yesterday, on the basis of law of causality, can change, and particularly mind is concerned, all those sort of negative things are actually based on ignorance. Ignorance, two types. One just mere ignorance, one I usually call distorted ignorance. Lopartoba.
A misconception. Misconception.
Misconception. So the mere ignorance comparatively less harmful. But the other one, misconception, more serious. So any misconception means it's distorted the reality. So reality there. So always found antidote of the misconception. So these misconception and right understanding, these are two opposed. The many changes, you see, take place because of contradictory force, like temperature, heat, cold, contradictory, opposite force. So one increase, another reduce. So now mental level, they not like sort of physical thing. Is also formless. So the contradiction is based on zindang.
Based on the object of apprehension.
So one mind is consider this is true. One mind knows this is not true. So now these two mind opposite each other. Then differences, the proper understanding, that's validated based on reasons. Further investigate, further experiment, it becomes clearer. So no matter how powerful that other misconception, more investigate, more sort of experiment, that becoming weaker. And then the very nature of mind is neutral, just mere because of the cognitive. So therefore, the water, just you see, pure water, because it's pure, So can be black water or white water or yellow water, because its very nature is neutral or something pure. So similarly, our basic nature of mind is simply luminous, right?
Luminous. Luminous.
So can influence different sort of emotions or different thought. Then yesterday, we already discussed the continuity of the mind, so beginningless, also endless. From the Sanskrit tradition, endless. And the Pali tradition, one school of thought, the Vibhashya school of thought, the some or the 18 branches. So some believe at the Mahaparinirvana, Nirvana, the Buddha's mind ceases. Except that, the rest of all Buddhist sort of school of thought believe there's no reason, because there's no sort of opposite matter, which the existence of mind. Therefore, the mind will continue.
Which obstructs the existence of mind.
So, mind, mental continuation, no beginning, no end. Then another thing, there's certain sort of quality, right? Quality of physical. The very basis of that quality, something grosser. So, it cannot develop infinitely. And secondly, since the basis of that quality is something rough, so each time, at least you need some new effort. Now the
Sportsman.
very good sort of sportsmen, they say 6 months, no longer sort of training. Then after 6 months, at least you need some training. Otherwise, you see, the continuation no longer there. Right. Now mental quality. Firstly, the mind, like I think the knowledge, kindergarten children, or boy or girl, very limited. But same brain, same human brain, and then so the 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years, gradually, so the better education. I think a basic sort of brain structure, I think more or less, I think same. At least after sort of they fully develop your body, then same size. I'm not very sure. I think any scientist here, brain specialist? No. Kasa. Oh, the actual sort of, I think the particles or neurons, these multiply or not? I mean, age, yes, that's right. From 5 years old, 10 years, 20 years, yes, that's quite definitely. But the size same. Then do you say more educated people, their brain is something special, uneducated, something different? Can you say that? That is physical. That is physical because of the nature of physical. Right? I think our finger also is change. Year by year, is some change. So it's the cells, whole body is change, and brain also. But you see, the education, knowledge, based on brain. But you cannot say the better educated person, the brain is something very special. So through education, go through education higher and higher, brain something different. No. So, like I said, knowledge is the quality of mind. So it can, I think, study 50 years, study 100 years. Of course, our life is not sufficient. Otherwise, if you live 1,000 years, I think knowledge can increase, theoretically speaking. But same human brain. So that shows the limitless potential of mind. Some sense? Do you have some argument? Kasa. Then, on second factor is continuation. Once you learned thoroughly, and particularly 패시 투중 기시로 섬중 기시로 슬로는 패시 주어줘야 용거래. 투주시로도 아자자 섬중 기시로리 패시 쇠세기 용어사디 안데 주어줘야 된대요래. 근데 즉 사드비 정juk 섬슬로디 시로고 저도 제매나 사드비 섬기 톱사리 제리 섬기 냠야 용거래. 다 시로고 저도 제 윤주 사드비 섬진다 유어메신 송겨봐. 자상가 떡에 있는 주텔에 그 떡을 신문도 준네 주민 가서 지 쇠미가 영어 탑에 있나요? 야 요도가 똑같다. 다도 야 그러 가서 빵셔빵배 제외 있는 탑에 있나? 패시 요도야 매대버지. 그래서 뒤에 인도다 간다 땡담바 세트 직세. 그 썸담배 인자. 그 continuation 저리 걸어. 땡담바스. kumsin bezu kyanmala mitubas ko pige tokpa tankri chigi tokpa steyo na tati bezu kyanma chimoga chigi dindri yindu samlat nambe yonde kumpa tamidu pechogri sachi.
So in our process of cultivation of experiences with regards to a practice, first it should be based on a sound understanding. So there are different kinds of understanding. Understanding based on hearing, that's one kind of understanding. Understanding based on contemplation.
Silly thing, I want to tell you. This new glass. So I just, before coming here, I just received that. So I want to test while he translates.
So the second kind of understanding is understanding based on one's own contemplation, analytical kind of understanding. And after that, by habituating yourself experientially with the concepts of acquired, then you gain more experience. So experience are at two levels. Conceptual experience, where still your experience is not fully matured in the sense that it's not completely direct with the object. So it's not non-conceptual, but it's conceptual. So from that process, again you train continuously until you reach the direct engagement with object like emptiness or impermanence, where your understanding does not need to go through an image. So that's what we call as direct perception, non-conceptual. So when it's a conceptual understanding, even if it's something that is experiential, but because of other factors, it may somehow decline, and there are degenerations and ups and downs in that realization. But when once the realization, like the attainment of cessation or of any kind of delusion is attained, then there's certain kind of stability, a stabilized quality is acquired, because which there is no further degeneration. So there is only enhancement of that quality, no degeneration. So since the basis of mental quality is the mental stream, which is continuous and which has no external factor for the disturbance of its continuity. Because of that, the basis of mental quality is considered stable. So if it's a mental quality where you have gained experiences, and experientially you have become spontaneous and uncontrived, then that quality can expand limitlessly. So because of that, you do not need to go under further training. You can begin from that experience or acquire. So that's the quality of mind to expand limitlessly when certain degree of experience is acquired. So because of that, there is a possibility of the nirvana or possibility of complete enlightenment based on this theory that the basis of mind is stable, that the mental stream is always continuous, and then when once certain experiences have become uncontrived, spontaneous, it can extend limitlessly, and you do not need to go under further training, or you don't have to begin from the beginning. You just catch up from that experience and further expand it.
The Buddhist literature, or I think we can. That's also I think reality, because I think maybe I think science. The understanding. There are 3 levels. First, just hearing. Some understanding through hearing. Just not stable. You heard something today, and you get some understanding. But then, after some time, another different sort of explanation here. You may change that. Because that understanding totally relying on others' word. Then the second level, the understanding through your own analyze, or familiarize, or further investigation. Think. There are also 4 ways. Chunigriba, Shaoshiberigba, Deberigba. Desum Shirishabatol in Tedugribati.
There are 4 ways of 4 kind of theories by which we ascertain something, or the phenomena by which we interpret the possibility of nirvana and so forth. So the first one is the nature or the theory of the nature of reality, that in the nature this is such, and based on that. And then based on that natural reality, then there is the possibility of the functionality of something, because the nature has provided such. Based on that understanding of functionality comes that the theory of dependency, that this has this function, and because of that, this has to be dependent on that. And then further, the 4th theory is the theory of acceptability, that the nature has provided that, and then there is this function, and then there is this dependence, and because of that, such and such is acceptable. So the theory of acceptability. So these 4 theories.
So this is, I think, the scientific research also, you see, the basis on that principle. Firstly, should know the different sort of elements, very nature. Some liquid nature, some sort of energy, sort of the nature, like that, identify. The particles, why particle come, happen, no reason, just there. Air, just there, like that. So more subtle way, I think usually we can say some extent how it developed, that we can say. But why it happened, difficult. So ultimately, the answer should be nature. That's the basis. Then the second level, the two different sort of matter, different sort of function, combine different form. That is the
Or a theory of dependency.
One different element combine another element, then new form, new sort of the new entity, and new function. That's how
So it has another, again, new function and a new kind of aspect to it.
Then third is law of causality. So today this happened. So most probably next sort of the next stage, this kind of form. Today this kind of reality. Or now, for example, Delhi's today's temperature, because yesterday something happened. So today this happened. Now because of today's sort of temperature, the next few days will be like that. So that's the law of causality. Through that way. Then on the basis of these three things, then the prediction,
Theory of the theory of acceptability or inference.
So now, firstly, hearing, understanding, hearing. Second, then is a further investigation, analyze or experiment. Then develop full conviction. Now, this is 100% sure. I tested, experimented, investigate, then 100% sure. Now, that's the second level of understanding. Now, that's very fun. Now, another person say, oh, this is wrong, something different. Then you react, no. I tested and experimented, and because of the A, B, C, D reason, A like that, B like this, C like this, so it is sure. So that understanding is more sama.
Or it's a kind of valid cognition based on inference.
되게 당고디 투중섬지 고안에 폐실 이주 이베나 디균 때문에 민식송세니 되게 기타 투중선에 집에서 understand 이주섬 고아래.
So the first one acquired, the first kind of understanding acquired through hearing is more kind of assumptuous kind of understanding, not consolidated, and that doesn't produce any conviction.
So these are clearly mentioned in Buddhist psychology, right? The map of psychology. So then third level, the thing which you fully now convinced through test, through experiment, and through reasoning. Now that makes familiarize yourself. At the beginning with effort, and also with help of samadhi, single-pointed mind, the familiarization, then deeper, deeper, deeper. Then eventually that understanding is without sort of effort. As soon as your mind is put on that object, they immediately because of that,
Immediate experience, spontaneous experience.
So you see, we need the kind of thing. So the way increase the quality which is based on mind, it can goes indefinitely. Like that. So these are the reasons there is possibility to eliminate negative emotions such as anger, hatred, jealousy, attachment, these things. Then here, these yesterday also already mentioned, that these negative emotions basically is based on self-centered, what's it? Now here two things. 다도 짐바, temper 짐베. 가서다 가서다 다 랑자워 짐베. 당진 당 랑 제번 짐베 진진 니부 되는 저 있듯이.
So all delusions are either connected to either of these two kind of grasping. One, grasping at an autonomous substantially autonomous self, and another one, the self-centered attitude.
Selfish, extreme selfish. I often use mentioning, selfish is part of our mind. Selfish is necessary, taking care of yourself. Unless that kind of feeling there, you cannot extend taking care of others. So first, you should take care of yourself. So that kind of selfish is good. But then selfish, narrow-minded, blind selfish, you see, usually you should lead harming other. Just think of yourself. So that kind of selfish, I usually call foolish selfish. In order to gain long-term benefit to oneself and taking care about other, there's wise selfish. It's much better. Animal cannot do. We have intelligence, so we can. I think here also is something like business work. If I spend 100 rupees, then I might get 1,000 rupees. Go like that. So the inner quality also, you see, thinking. If I sacrifice something today, next day, how much I will gain. So there's no harm to other, but yourself, you see, making some kind of business with the help of human intelligence. Long run interest, long run benefit, consider top most important. And for that reason, some small things for temporary sacrifice, okay, that's wise. So now, now thinking with these, these philosophical or the mental system, then once we develop some kind of sort of clear understanding, more or less conviction, or it is possible to achieve elimination of certain level of sort of
Ignorance.
no, certain level of
Afflictions.
elimination of the nyomo.
The affliction emotions, afflictive delusions.
No, or clash, elimination of clash. No, that is the proper sort of enthusiasm to achieve moksha. That's according Buddhist moksha, like that. Moksha, not like heaven or sukhavati. I often see teasing my Chinese or Buddhist brothers sisters. They usually carry on red envelope, some money inside. Then whenever you see they meet your guru, Amitabh. So they thinking they born in kasa
Purium. Sukhavati.
Sukhavati, sorry. The pure land. That's not the nirvana, not moksha. Moksha is here within yourself. Once the impure mind, step by step, purified. Once your mind, previously, fully influenced by negative emotion, that completely changed. That is the nirvana. That's the moksha. The entity of moksha is ultimate reality of our mind. So that is moksha. Because all the defilement or negative sort of emotion comes the complete misperception of that reality. So the nirvana, moksha, is to fully understand about that reality, then all the destructive emotion which come from misconception, then disappear. Where disappear? Not in the space, but disappear in the reality of mind.
Disappear in the state of emptiness.
The question 내루로 몽배 왕기 깨배 견디디 내루 치지 말라고 또 인도잖아. 대인수시와.
So it makes complete sense that the distorted delusion, which is ignorant of the reality, can be completely eliminated in the state of that reality when the understanding of that reality is accomplished.
So now 37 practice, aiming, moksha, not Buddhahood. Even Buddhahood also, you see, this sort of common path. So, firstly, you see, how to practice 37 practices.
37 auxiliary paths to enlightenment.
당연히 전반이샤시 for mindfulness. 야다봉시.
For abandonment.
조르지 강바시.
For miraculous achievements.
전주양라 등.
The 7 aspects of Buddhahood.
판라양라게.
The 8 parts of Arya paths.
Now, this moment, this level, the practice of for mindfulness. First, mindfulness about physical, about body. That means analyze, thinking about very basic nature of this body. So skin and kare. The tatinanema, thinking, like I think the tablet like some pictorial sort of text.
Like dissecting the different parts of your body.
So you see, meditate your own body. The appearance looks nice, but then inside, blood or the veins or these kinds of muscles are muscle. Then further goes bone and marrow. And then this side, stomach. Then below stomach, a lot of dirty things is produced here. We usually, you see, even you see, when we go to toilet, if toilet too much smell, then we do that. Actually, all those smell is made here, constructed here, produced here. And then, no matter how beautiful your body, as soon as depart this mind from this body, generally, then within hours, smelling, swallow. Swallow.
Swallow. Swallowing. Swallowing.
And become dark. So then through that's the way to investigate what is something pure in this body. Of course, this body, very useful, especially this brain, very useful. But you see, nothing, something really because of the precious or something good things. It worked, but there's no basis of too much sort of attachment, my body. So, this does not mean this body is worthless, so kill oneself, not that way. you see, try to reduce attachment of body and utilize this body's sort of ability, not attachment, like that. And then also this body momentarily changing. That means its existence entirely depends on its causes. So,
So it is under the control of the causes and conditions.
and then feeling, thought Second.
The second, the mindfulness of feelings.
Feeling. Then experience, pleasure, pain, examine these things. Then also here, I think the feeling, the breathing come inside,
Inhale, exhale, inhalation and exhalation.
Come and go like that. You get some feeling. Examine these things. And mainly the feeling of pleasure, feeling of pains. They're both obviously momentarily changing. So it depends on its own causes. So now, more thinking about the law of causality, then the body or be changing, momentarily changing the body, momentarily changing this feeling beyond your control due to its own causes. The causes are very powerful. Then you see this body and feeling, the actually basis of suffering, basis of trouble. So then, what is this causes, ultimate causes, produce this troublesome body and feeling? That just lead to some understanding the problem about attachment, and further goes ignorance. Then symptom.
The mindfulness of mind.
Mind. Then mind, very obviously, you see, the momentarily changing. Then also, I think, through our own experience, if we pay some attention, then much sort of pain in mental level, actually our own mental creation. For example, physical pain. I think two patients in same hospital, same sort of the illness. One, the mental attitude, so bad, because of unlucky way, so
unfortunate.
So unfortunate. That kind of mental level frustration. Then that person's physical pain almost intolerable, like that. The other person is the same illness, same amount of pain, but consider either this is due to my own karmic result, or the very nature of this body is like that. So long, a body which, because of the dominant by ignorance, attachment, that's very nature. Sometimes you see some Tibetan scholars or some monk came to see me and sort of complain some pains here and there, and please bless me. those people whom I sort of quite close sort of contact, then sometimes I telling them half teasing. Now, suppose you must have sort of fuller knowledge about the very nature of the body. So you neglect it. So now your own body now telling you this is the basis of pain. 다 가서 가서 다 부부 동행 그런 시 뭐, 가서 다 동행 댄싱이 뭐지? 뭐는 시행거로다. 엔다 지 다치 지금 너기 서기서 깨알아서 지잖아요. 다 소소 파상다는 뭐 맞죠?디 또 풍부코레 수 나서 잡다던 게 있을 수가 해야 돼. 뭐게? 응? 들었다.
So this body, even though it is the basis of all pains and suffering, and we are supposed to understand that this, the very nature of this body is suffering, and then it is also the basis of further sufferings. But because of our negligence and misunderstanding or ignorance, we just completely remain oblivious to this reality of the body. But somehow it seems that as we get older and when we complain of all these pains and sufferings, it seems that the body itself is reminding us that it is actually my nature to be in the nature of suffering.
So of course, while I'm telling or talking like that, I myself, when someone has a problem here, I also feel, oh, awful. But these thinking, very, very sort of helpful. According to my own little experience, a few years ago, the temperature doesn't make a little warmer or reduce the coldness. If somebody is to get cold, then very bad. Instead of blessing some sort of mental level, but real blessing for body, and because of flu, and then eventually develop fever, then have to go hospital to seek blessing. So a few years ago, when I was in Patna or Bihar, that area, so all sudden, very pain here. So I could not sort of remain in car like this, very painful. But meantime, the road passing through, a lot of poor children without shoe. Obviously, no proper care of education. Picking some stitches, like that. And then worst thing, near Patna, one old person lay down, white clothes, sort of dress, but very dirty. So seems nobody look after him. Hair, semi-white, very dirty, lay down. So must be sick person. So after I reach my hotel, pain there, very much painful, but constantly reflect these people. Nobody taking care. Me, at least, is some doctor, some sort of concerned people, is taking full care. So that thinking, some sort of sense of concern of some poor people sort of well-being, that immense help. You see, to forget my own pain. So these things, and then also, you see, as I mentioned earlier, you see, the deeper understanding, very nature of the body, very nature of samsaric body, then you get the feeling, oh, this is normal. nothing unusual. So if 보도에서 오는 시리 지금 갱갱 난나서다 치워도 이제 더 보이는 전에 나주신 나와이 치주시 치워인스 텔레야지 양세기야 말이지 나와도 치워 민드나 깨와 도그스 깨와 도발은 녀몽 도그스 소야 들으셔
A great Kadamba master with the name Potawa once said that when we see difficult circumstances and when we are also overwhelmed by sufferings and when we witness the death of others and also develop fear within ourselves, is actually nothing really surprising about that, or because it's actually what is happening is something which is in that nature to happen. Something which is the nature of suffering is actually undergoing all these processes. And if you do not desire these things to happen, then you have to stop the processes of birth. And for that, you have to stop the delusions that give rise to those births.
Oh, so you see, the pains, physical pain, even physical pain can reduce or neutralize with certain mental sort of attitude. Then, most important, mental level sort of suffering or pains is almost 100% mental projection. So through training of mind, certainly you can reduce sort of discomfort or sort of worry or frustration in mental level. So I think roughly speaking, the practice of mindfulness, for mindfulness, like that. So the Chöchaman said, that this was
The fourth mindfulness of phenomena or quality or reality, is something related with the evaluation, taking into account that the nature of body, mind, and feelings as such. Then it comes naturally what to embrace and what to abandon. The practice of abandonment and cultivation.
Then yadabonshi.
For abandonment.
That's our effort with certain sort of understanding and at least some understanding the ultimate goal, possibility of ultimate goal. Then in order to achieve that goal, there's permanent happiness, permanent sort of tranquility. So aiming that goal, then day and night, including in dream, make effort, some sort of chanshipagyu.
The practice of mindfulness and conscientiousness or cautiousness, also or caution.
Then, the
four miraculous feats are actually a qualitative kind of concentration.
In detail, I can't remember, but the essence is, then now here, the single-pointed meditation, this is samadhi. So that all these practice is common, Buddhist, non-Buddhist, even non-believer, in order to maintain some kind of tranquility within yourself, within your mental level. I think these can be useful. Not talking about next life or not talking about nirvana, these things, but simply because of healthy mind, it's bound to face some problems. So then try to develop certain sort of attitude towards these problems. So at least at mental level, much reduce worry, frustration. So, so now practice of samadhi, training of samadhi. There are variety. And you see, those people who believe Atma, then concentrate on Atma. One of my Hindu friend, they say, concentrate here. I think, you see, seeing is so sort of effective. So sometimes, you see, they meditate a certain sort of object here, behind eye, little easier. So said like light or letter or syllabus,
Syllable.
silver or letter. Concentrate here, more difficult. Here also more difficult. You need some special sort of technique, special effort. But somewhere here, little easier. Because you see, seeing is very, very powerful. So therefore, Atma, the real Karta, I mean, I'm the self. So Atma, I don't know someday what kind of form, I don't know. But mind is concentrate here. And then some sort of Hindu, you see, concentrate Rigita.
The perceptible sound.
Rigita chamashita.
Whether Vedic sound.
That also one sort of way, meditate or practice also the training of samadhi and the sound. Many years ago, one sadhu, very sort of religious-minded person, wonderful. He also very much concerned about Tibetan problem. So he often say, "Oh, one day we together go to Tibet. That day will happen." So he always said that. So he give me some sort of practice or some technique practice. The complete silent place. Then remain bit longer. Then gradually,
You will be able to hear the Vedic sound. Vedic Shabda.
Vedic Shabda. Re Shabda Trache.
Shabda.
Vedic Shabda. He instructed me some clock. After 15 years, 15 minutes or 20 minutes, remain completely silence. Then some sound may come. I try, but fail. So in any way, and then Buddhist, any object, flower or any object, take as a sort of object to meditate. But here, the important is the real object of shamatha is not external thing. I think very, very sort of initial stage sometimes might be useful. So look one object by eye and mind all focusing one. Try to remain there as long as possible. But then gradually the image within mind completely ignore sensorial sort of
Perceptions.
perception.
Appearances.
Or they mentally visualize object, letter, or image, or anything, imagery, anything, or flower, even flower. Then that object should be very bright. So that help to remove dullness. And little bit heavy, so imagine heavy object, that object heavy, that help to trauma.
It helps to dispel mental excitement.
So the real enemy of single-pointed mind is two. 친구도
So mental dullness and mental
저 친구도 trust.
excitement.
So now visualize the object in mind. 근데 인도산에 냐사다 주나라 띵인지기 숭년송도와 띵인지기 미버디 예물을 샤데버시 인도산에 띵인지기 숭년스.
So these are in classical texts called as the
Arya Asanga's writing.
the image of the concentration.
So then concentrate on it. At the beginning, very short period, say, even if it's a few seconds, or then gradually a few minutes. Then that duration, more sort of experienced or get used, then 10 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours. Some my friend, actually one American, who practice some sort of tantric practice. He, when his body quite good, then he can concentrate 4 hours, single pointed. Then some sort of different sort of experience within his veins. It's actually happened. So some of my students' sort of experience is much advanced than me. Then my excuse is I have no time to meditate. So that is half true, half not true. So these are, you see, if we train, it's possible. And actually one American sort of my friend, he actually now carrying some, last few years, carrying some project in Thailand. Now we are discussing set up one in Bangalore, eventually. Not Buddhist sort of meditation center, but the Indian, because of traditional, because of the practice of shamatha and vipassana. So this is common, Buddhist, non-Buddhist. So some his sort of student in Thailand, again 5 hours, 6 hours, concentrate. They develop that kind of ability. So now the tantric practice, again Hindu tantrayana, Buddhist tantrayana, is in both. You see, utilize these because of the veins, and the yoga practice also you see involved here. The differences, main differences, is the theory, Atma theory, Anatma theory, and Bodhicitta. Otherwise, you see these practice, many practices are common. Or Chandalini, Kundalini, practice these things, and different chakras. One time in Chile, the organizer arranged my room, one hotel. In there, some Sutangas, some deities in different faces, and also the chakras. So of course, I find very difficult whether Buddhist deity or Hindu deity. So chakra, these things common. So I try to examine, but still at that time, still I don't know difficult to distinction.
Distinguish.
Yeah, like that. So I think the hotel, so the managers, they thought this is Buddhist or Tibetan tantric practice or something. So they especially arranged in my room. So I confused. what is the real sort of painting like that? And anyway, so that's practice of samadhi. Then I think one easiest practice of samadhi is meditate on breathing. That's much easier. It can help to reduce attraction, right? Distraction. But at the same time, not as difficult as sort of some newly sort of developed image. So breathing already there. And also you see the part of your sort of body sort of activities. So therefore, fully concentrate on the breathing. Now count or 1, take in, ka,
Taking in, inhalation.
take in and out.
Exhalation.
Just to say, or put one, I think, clock or watch or rosary. And 20 times, 100 times, few hundred times, 1,000 times. I think even you see those people who are very busy and little sort of worry, either business or even sort of also the teachers or the teachers' work, some sort of tiredness there. Then, in form of rest, count that. Then I think after 30 minutes, perhaps your mind may become more fresh. That's also helpful. Like that. So this, then best thing is watch your own mind. Now here, as I mentioned earlier, the very nature of mind is pure, neutral. But usually, firstly, mental sort of experience, mental, the sixth mind, or Ishva.
Mental consciousness.
Mental consciousness, usually you see the kasota, but
seem to be
covered by sensorial consciousness. So therefore, firstly, we must stop the sensorial consciousness. So now here, completely ignore seeing, hearing, or smell, or touch, or all these things. Then mental level itself, mental consciousness itself, again thought, memory about past, and some sort of vision about future. These also usually use the cover. So now here important is deliberately try to stop past memory and deliberately try to stop thinking about future. So then some kind of, as yesterday I mentioned, some kind of thoughtlessness. This is nothing sacred. So there's some sort of stage of experience. The thoughtlessness here, of course, I have not much sort of experience, but little experience. So you see, close eye, not good. Close eye is some sort of radish or something. So that's not helpful. Right? So open eyes, much better. But then the seeing directly to object, not very sort of colorful, but vague color, it is helpful, you see, to reduce eye conscious attraction. Then try to try to experience the just mind, no other thought, past, future, no, nothing. When you get some experience, the duration of that, because of the moment, little longer, then gradually you get the feeling of
Luminosity.
or luminosity, just pure, like mirror. Variety of reflections come easily, but itself just because
Luminous.
the
Luminous.
luminous. So again, you see common practice, Buddhists, Hindus. Yesterday, I sort of mentioned the three realms: Kamadhatu, Rupadhatu, Arupadhatu. This is the samadhi, which the samadhi, on the base of samadhi, but vipassana, because what it means, jagum,
Analytical meditation.
analytical meditation, vipassana. They analyze the Kamadhatu. We almost become slave of sensorial consciousness. And with that, attachment, anger, all these things happen. So, not attraction towards the sensorial sort of object, but the object tranquility of mind. So the Rupadhatu no longer sort of because of the sensorial sort of this beautiful object.
They are free of the objects of desire, of desirium. So they are free of they are free of the desire directed at the five objects of desirium or qualities. Five sensual objects of desirium. Yeah. Form, sound, taste, tactility, and smell.
Like that. So these are common practice. So then Rupadhatu, the 16 or 17 level, different. Or so grossly, grossly four stage. Something
The four levels. The first concentration level of concentration, second level of concentration, fourth, third, and fourth. These are all different realms based on their concentrative qualities.
Then Arupadhatu, formless realm. So these realm is a less strong desire or attachment. But all these realms still dominant by ignorance. So only once ignorance eliminate, then nirvana. Otherwise, these three different realms is the grosser level of klesh, yes, more so subtler, or reduce. But subtle still remain there. So these are common practice, shamatha. So it is useful because of the meditate or meditation object, mind itself. Now then, Buddhist practice about anatma. Then, once you get some experience about luminosity of mind, then there are continuity. So momentarily still it's momentarily sort of changing. Changing does not mean 미부지로 하면 돼. 미부지로 하면 돼. 거라 시바 거라 기지 로데 거라.
It's not that object of concentration is changed, but the mind, in the nature of luminosity itself, is undergoing transition.
유진절로 차자이 미쳤어요.
Something which exists has to exist with different aspects or parts.
So those phenomena which form the particles as different directions, directionless.
There isn't any
초아지 참에 매봐.
There isn't any particle which is there isn't anything that which is form or which is substantial but without any directional aspects.
Then consciousness, formless. So 초아지 매봐.
So when it comes to consciousness, we cannot speak of the directions, different four corners or directions of consciousness.
But 기진 것이
We can speak
기진
of
것이 차.
different aspects of the momentary, the first moment, second moment, third moment, and so forth.
벽에 나는 10의 규 수도와.
So we call it in Tibetan the mental continuity.
규 사디 균.
Continuum.
디
Sorry.
짓 사디 한다 레자겔 가스르다. 어디 균 사도도 rum도 규 사시도게. 알레. 지리 균다 규 집어래. 어디 다르죠. 레자겔 다도와. 아주 벽에 레자라서 띄우시죠. 규 10의 규 사디. 규 사디 균제. 但是这个中他们给写上啊，讲到夸的娘的写的，被写就到是这么具其实没有，写就到是这么具体里啊，到是怎么？可是啊，
Vajrashekara. Shekara.
写就到是怎么？那是具体，前写就到是怎么哪里啊？可是啊。균이 샤와다 사실 지금 막 거는 디슈데 코 규샤인스 규 냥알은 데버디 규치마인스 가다 코아드 양데서리 규지 가는 마샤야지 가다 시베 균걸 셔주로 심 춥지 이메징디 코아바 심 춥지 이메 그도데 타바 냥데바.
So the connotation for mental continuity and continuum seem to be same in the Sanskrit version, and also it seems to have the same impact in the connotation in the Tibetan translation as well. So in the Vajrashekha Tantra, Yoga Tantra treatise, it says that the samsaric mental continuum and the mental continuum at the state of enlightenment are actually of the same continuation, or they belong to the same continuity. That means when the mind is actually defiled by delusions, then that's what we call the mind in the state of samsara, the mental continuum of samsara. And once these defilements are completely eliminated, then we can say the mind at the state of enlightenment. But these are actually of the same continuity.
So it is there are particles, particle parts, parts. So analyze what's mind. First part, second part, third part, like that we can't find. That they were did motivation 지 사지기 가서 오지 뭐임벌로 놓고 그 샤모츠베 그돌이야 지턴시 사셔도 지턴시 지코라 뭐로 랑점버시 샤니 지턴시 사지.
So in the non-Buddhist traditions,
좀더 그래. 지턴시 등에 그래. 그래. 지턴시 등에 그래. 무디고. 쳐다봐. 是不是吧？你知道呗？
So in the Buddhist school, especially the Vaishashik and Nayayik, when they are when they fail to present an object by negating something, when they fail to establish the existence of something by the mode of negating something, and then implicatively establishing through that mode of negation, then they have to say that there should be some kind of a commonality by which we distinguish the aspects of the entities that we see around. For that, there should be some kind of commonality, which they call as a distinct generality, the distinct essence that abides in all the objects, which is of the same nature and which is kind of a common link between all of them to determine their entity.
So in any way, they analyze about mind. So then, as yesterday we already discussed, the without analyze, investigate what's the ultimate reality. Without that, you see, we can pinpoint this is mind, this is body, this is subtle mind, this is grosser level mind. When we investigate what's the ultimate reality, then these sort of objects, not the ultimate reality. Therefore, the mind which investigating ultimate reality, then all these objects dissolve, disappear. So the mind also investigate what's the ultimate reality of mind. Nothing. So here is some sort of possibility of fear. I also, many years ago, I sort of analyze analytical meditation, reading one sort of text. The point where detailed explanation, body, mind, all these 5 skandhas, not I. The I does not exist besides 5 skandhas. Then it mentioned, therefore, self or I is just mere designation. At that moment, I really, you see, felt some kind of lightning.
As if there was kind of a sensation of trembling.
So,
light, yeah.
So you have good companion, no problem. A lot of people there, so no problem. So in any way, because you see, we take for granted life and life after life, because of the eons, fully take for granted there is solid I. Now something touching there, you get some kind of the
frightening fear.
So that's good sign. Not remain just word, but actually it's the critical.
You're actually touching the self-grasping there.
香港是学人了，打没其实别东大蒙古了，我这苦就是给说，是给别就是台湾的这样吧。
When we debate in the debate ground for so many years, establishing selflessness, if it does not really touch the self-grasping, then it's almost like waste.
So in any way, so that's one way. Meditate. So object of meditation, the variety, and then Tantrayana, the deity yoga. And tomorrow I will explain something. So now, rest. Please announce rest. That's good announcement.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to rest.
공봉아, 똥아, 사다, 다 대바다. 애니 가르고 참바다, 지 가르고 좋아. 그래. 땡긴지. 다지 다 예외 소리지. 이 예외 소리지. 다지네 냠 지금 저 다소다. 맞아. 다 그도 저이 되지. 팔람이 라지야지. 팔람이 라지야리야. 맞아. 그게 람갈 자니. 로단 직세. 때 람갈 마셔세. 거라 팔람이 라지야 도지 요라도 가. 지금 여자. 제 베지 통수 가라이나디 해지데 독글에 되면 제바이나 가이나 지금 하러도 그 팔람이라 게 수도 치십시오. 다디시들 모두 다자네 팔람이라 게 냠내셔야지. 다리 팔람이라 게 어디 러버스문나 수디 다 러버스 냠파 게르 스tam바이나 다 팔람이라 게 양다베가 양다베 소와 양다베 라이치사 주름 쳐세. 되네 딩인지 잠바 더 딩인지란 체. 다지네 양다베 따와 양다베 또바 양다베 줘봐 뒤리 싫어 버리고 맞지. 저 따다 유지시죠. 뒤는 니는 줘야 나는 연대도 같은데.
So then other than those that we have discussed, there are other kind of paths like the 4 powers, the 4 strengths, and 5 powers, 5 strengths, and so forth. Now, apart from there, also we have the practice of the 8 different aspects of the Arya paths or exalted paths. So usually it is called kare. Usually it is called as eightfold paths. So these eightfold paths, like the perfect speech, the perfect way of living, all these are up to the perfect, perfect view and perfect understanding. These 8 can be categorized into the training of the 3 kinds of trainings, like training of discipline, training of concentration, and training of wisdoms. So if you expand the 3 trainings, then we have the practice of the 8-fold paths, or the 8-fold paths. So usually when we speak of the practice of the 8-fold paths, we speak of integrating those 8-fold paths in the 5 parts, like the path beginning from the path of accumulation, preparation, part of insight, part of meditation, and part of normal learning. But apart from that, Solon says that he also had come across a commentary of a sutra, which says that we can still apply the practice of the 8-fold paths even before we reach other paths. So even in our daily activities, we can still practice these 8-fold paths in our day-to-day life activities.
Right. So all these aiming to nirvana or moksha, which, as I mentioned earlier, the certain mental state. Then that is the rough, the explanation about the Theravada teachings goal and path. So that's the foundation of Buddha Dharma. Now here, the 택받을 좀더 여와치야지 계시면서가.
It is also important to distinguish between the different yanas and the different tenets, or the different paths and the different tenets.
사다 좀더 택맹기 좀더 임발라 택배찬에 전죽스미 요댕에기 야 택심을 연구를 받아.
So there could be a Mahayana practitioner on the path of a Mahayana still holding the Hinayan tenets.
다양 택배찬에 가서 대본 멤버 저는 야랑 파봤다고 dum대찬에 tenyu 차대로 우모 차대로.
So again, there could be like practitioners. When it comes to the practice of the path, they could be the path of Hinayan paths. When it comes to their view, they are still holding the Mahayana views, like the heroes and praticabuddhas or solitude realizers, like those who have the arhats in those. They still have even though with regards to the practice of the path, they are still on the Hinayan path, but still when it comes to the view, they have the Mahayanan view of the ultimate emptiness.
Now about Bodhisattva Yana practice. The aim is Buddhahood. The purpose is serving infinite sentient being, as I mentioned earlier. So that very motivation, thinking, well-being of infinite sentient being, and in order to serve effectively, first you should achieve full knowledge, all knowledge,
Omniscience.
omniscience. So that's Bodhicitta. Maitreya Bodhisattva mentioned Simjipani Shenduchir Yandasobe Shanshu Dubaninde. That the Deva Lovesengasangwe, any Devatan Savishua, Dubanit Shendutani, Randutani Sadiri, Mare, Shanjutani.
So in Maitreya's root text, Abhisamaya Alankara, he says that the very purpose of attaining omniscience is to benefit others, and it is associated with two intentions. The preceding intention to benefit the preceding intention is an intention wishing to benefit others, and then concomitant intention is to reach enlightenment, to cultivate omniscience within oneself in order to be benefit to others. So So in the commentary by Haribhatra of that root text, it speaks of the two kinds of intention associated with this bodhicitta or awakening mind.
So that is as soon as we develop that kind of mind, then you automatically become Bodhisattva. Not knowledge level, but actually experience that. Then the individual become Bodhisattva. Now Shantarakshita clearly sort of mentioned Bodhisattva, there are two types. Bodhisattva, more intelligent one. First, like Nagarjuna, or all these great sort of Bodhisattva, they analyze the reality, ultimate reality. Then, with full understanding about that reality, then they develop conviction. All these negative things can eliminate. Then the determination to carry that sort of responsibility. That's bodhicitta. Now those sort of people who intelligence not that sharp, but very warm-hearted person, then they may sort of develop bodhicitta first, then gradually understanding about shunyata. So generally, those texts wrote by Tibetan and meant for Tibetan masters, I think the later one. First, bodhicitta, then out of the 6 paramita, then panchaparamita, then explain about shunyata. The Nagarjuna's Chanju Samji.
The commentary of bodhicitta.
Then also the Shantarikshita's own Madhyamika Alangara. Madhyamika Alangara. Very clear. At the major portion of his writing about shunyata. And a lot of sort of argument with other sort of the different views. Then at the end, he explained the bodhicitta. So, 어머님부 들으지 말래. 전주 심주과 샤운도 근도. 아니 그거 챙기면 근도. 가. I think most of the Nalanda scholars writing, you see, they very much emphasis intellectual level sort of the discussion. Then bodhicitta. I think now time come. First, we must sort of actually, the explanation about the ultimate reality. These things are something like introduction of Buddha Dharma. As I mentioned yesterday, the practice of compassion, love, forgiveness, this is common for every major religious tradition. So in order to know Buddha Dharma, then these sort of unique sort of explanation, that should know first. Then you know what is Buddha, what is Dharma. In order to know Buddha and Sangha, first you must know this Dharma. Dharma 2 types. The
truth of path and truth of cessation.
These two are real Dharma. Usually we just pointing the text, the Dharma. That's simply the lungchöye tak peji ngar sikwe. Right? Ka. Oda lungchö rande peji ngar siya chana ine that the lungchö tamaji tan dishama jishik.
So it's a writing of the scriptural doctrine. The actual scriptural doctrine should be a speech, but the script is just a mere representation of that, or symbolic of the actual scriptural doctrine.
Bosuband, in his writing, Bosuband's writing, the Abhidhamma Karika, at the end he mentioned, Tembetamjunami Lungdo Tanitos, da Lungdo Tani Tube Tambati, Zinju Pesum Shadi, Shabbat Trubo, Kone Chijures, the Osundwa.
So Vasubandhu explains in his root text that Buddha's doctrine could be classified into 2: the scriptural doctrine and also that's the realizational doctrines in the form of realization. So to preserve these 2 doctrines, the only method by which one preserve them is through the cultivation of study and contemplation, and then a meditation.
코나 사 식디 남주 슝나리아 샨된 남주 신 팀마도 신다 요 말이신 샨도 자치직 야 인심이 과레스 이뭐 코나 살베 다는 저한테 수숨신 샤인주사네 니 여행을 뭐 치며 지사 주어다 전에 딱 간다 어디야 믿는 남주 인심이 담보 코나 인구잖아요 믿는 니도와 딴 샨된 남주로
So when it says that only through the practice of study and contemplation of meditation, it means it's when we say only, it negates something. So there are two modes of negating. It says that one mode of negating is that other than this, there isn't any other option, alternative. And one mode of negation is it simply doesn't bring into light the existence of others, but still it's not specific that only this is necessary and something else should not be there. But in this context, it means that other than these two, there is no other thought alternative by which you preserve the Buddha's tradition.
So, we Tibetan, suppose genuine student of Nalanda masters, but sometimes we ignore such advice. We emphasize more about elaborate temples, and the teachers also say the Buddha prohibited wearing
Sleeves.
sleeves. But when some Chinese emperor give Tibetan some sleeve, or they happily, they feel great honor. They ignore Buddha's sort of
Advice.
Buddha's rule, like that.
Vows.
Then Buddha also is mentioned. We should not sort of wear expensive clothes. Vinaya, very clearly mentioned. Buddha himself, as of the prince of one small kingdom. But then he give all these sort of treasures away, or all his wealth. Then remain like a beggar. So sometimes it looks like we are more higher sort of spiritual experience than Buddha. Let him carry hard work. We totally wrong, isn't it? I think Christians or Muslims, I think they are original teacher, like Jesus Christ. I think not much sort of
Not much like ornaments.
Now these archbishops, these is a quite big ring. Recently, Bishop Tutu, you see, he very gracious there. He came to see me at Dharamsala, and then, of course, we always teasing each other. A wonderful person, really wonderful. I have deep admiration. So when he leaving, I kiss his ring. Not a teasing. Certainly, you see, I really love him, respect him, admire him. So usually Christians do that. So I did. But he usually, you see, many occasions in public sort of talk, he praised me a lot. And then at the end, he stated, unfortunately, this person is not Christian. the gidi kala go rada. So the the simplicity, some sort of Catholic monks or nuns, their livelihood, very simplicity, very simple. I have been, I think, quite a number of Catholic monasteries in France and also America and Italy. Quite strict in their monastery. I remember one monastery in France, southern France, on top of some kind of mountain. They didn't allow ordinary people, or even their own leader sometimes, not invite, not allow. But they very kindly said they invited me. I went there. Their life, their whole life, once they joined the monastery, they must die in that monastery, and very little contact with the outside world, very much devoted their prayer or some meditations like that. Wonderful, wonderful. So sometimes we Buddhist monk in our monastery, in early, before you joined, we Tibetans was freshly reached India. Then we are truly simplicity, not out of volunteer, but out of there's nothing. Then more and more help come. And then these monks now, when you are joined in our monastery, already facilities much better. So, like the Mushu Thomi Sambo, one, I think, German people, the Pudun people in local today, which century? Pudun? Right. Or 15th century, or 16th century. Right. 15th century. 15th century. One great Bodhisattva. At that time, that area, well known. He was one example of living Bodhisattva. So in his writing, of the 37 verses, I often use it, give teaching. So at the end, he mentioned Dikasa. Ka. Marmore. Rang tuba rang madana cheve suji chimi chesibe. Tiji rangi kasa chiji tuba dundu. Oh, that digital.
So he says that if you do not examine your own faults, a person in the Gulf externally appearing as a religious person could do something, could do many irreligious activities. So therefore, examining your own deeds and activities, and through recognizing your own faults, abandoning them through your own examination is one of the practices of Bodhisattva.
So we really need, as a Buddhist monk or student of Buddha, we must follow his teaching very sincerely. Should not use Buddhist teaching as a source of livelihood. Totally wrong. Very important. So in any way, so the real teaching, this case is Buddha's teaching, here, not outside. So study is very, very important. Without knowing the fuller picture of the Buddhist system, so just you see, pray day and night. Of course, good. Some virtues accumulate, but very limited. Knowing the fuller picture, knowing present reality, then how can transform step by step? Then finally, clear goal, Buddhahood. Knowing that, day by day, try to change yourself. That's the proper way. In meantime, some prayer, some recitation. Otherwise, religion also teaches us how to act hypocrisy. Saying something nice things, doing something different. Isn't it? So we should be very sincere. That's important. So now, the Bodhisattva Yana, these 37 practice, these are foundation, same. Then in Pali tradition, or Sarvaka, right? Sharvakayana, mainly, Sharvakayana, the Vinaya vow. Then, in the Bodhisattva Yana, once you ready mentally, and you must take Bodhisattva vow. The Vinaya vow, fully ordained bhikshu, according Mula Savasiddhi which introduced by Shantarakshita, and the lineage from Nagarjuna. According to our Padimoksha, 253 rules, which we have to kept. But Buddha's also they rule very realistic. Mainly, you see, according to circumstances. As Shandadeva mentioned, the certain points in Vinaya rule prohibited because it mainly self-salvation. So in case that practice go against the benefit to larger sentient being, then the Bodhisattva's rule can overrule, right? Or overrule the certain Vinaya. For example, according to Vinaya, bhikshu should not touch gold. Then Bodhisattva Yana, if you refuse accept gold or touch gold, the other person may sort of disappoint very seriously. In such case, without your attachment, your desire, accept. Like that. So that's the in the Shantadeva's book, Tukjingawa Ringsikbe Kakpan Namja Telanangs.
The great compassionate one, since he has this far-sighted vision, has given special exemptions with regard to some vows or some commitments that could be of benefit for others.
So then Bodhisattva, wow. Then, according to Nalanda tradition, the Buddhist Tantrayana, Vajrayana, also there. Now here some sort of disagreement or disagreement.
No.
We have there are quite a number of texts which wrote by Nagarjuna, his name there. Then some people say Nagarjuna, who well known as a great philosopher, Madhyamika philosopher, that person and the author who have Nagarjuna name, author these texts, tantric text, is actually different. That's one view. So there's no Buddhist Tantrayana, only Hindu Tantrayana, or tantric teaching. So then here, I have sort of one sort of experience in, I think maybe over the Kadushabre. I think late 70, maybe, or early 80. The great was a Sanskrit scholar over there. Yesterday I mentioned, who sort of recite the Chandrakirti's one very important sort of text. Yes, yesterday I mentioned. You see, he, one associate told me, and later his life, you see, he carried some research work about Kalachara Tantra. So with that work, he few occasions visit Nepal. And one occasion, he found one page, you see, the Sanskrit on palm tree. He great Sanskrit scholar, so he read. Then he noticed the author of that sort of one page sort of writing. The style of Sanskrit writing, exactly same pattern, the 400 verses, the Madhyamika sort of text, wrote by Aryadeva. That's well known. So no sort of disagreement. So he found, he convinced 100% the same author. He is scholar, Sanskrit scholar. So he knows the style of the Sanskrit sort of composition. So then he told me, after he saw that, he fully convinced the same author. So the famous, the student of Nagarjuna, Aryadeva, also practiced Tantrayana. So that shows his teacher Nagarjuna also, you see, the tantric practitioner. Then no question. Then later, I was told the namla ninda namni, sala sawa namni sehagi, sikse da drense, da hota vazayavti.
In the Prasanapata by Chandrakirti, it says in the sky.
No. Chandrakirti sumo marda. There is saying, we Tibetan, you say that way.
These are saying in the.
Lama jivazi shigor, zo lama jivazi shigor marida. Kandami, da shungshengenzhe, namla ninda namni, sala sawa namni, da hota vazayavti, nga koala, sound of transe. De koala, umatsikse, sasawani.
So there is a saying among the Tibetan scholars that in the sky, in the sky or in the space, there are the two, moon and sun, and on the land beneath, there are two kinds of luminosities. That those two are like Chandrakirti's two texts.
I mean, actually, two texts,
Two
like sun and moon. That's also the expression. So, recently I heard some scholars at Sanath they notice these two texts. We believe the same author, Chandrakirti. They notice this again style, Sanskrit writing. These two books very similar. So that also prove the Chandrakirti, well-known top scholars, also is a practitioner of Tantrayana. And then I think most important, many Tibetan masters who practice this Tantrayana, they actually, gain extraordinary sort of experiences. Even my own generation. Oh, there are some really quite sort of remarkable like that. So now Tantrayana. I think more detailed explanation I will give you tomorrow morning. So now the basic sort of the path, the Bodhisattva yana, the gati para samgati, is the cholam, tholam, kwalam, da jiyung da jiboche. Da chengshuk sem jisiboche. Da dine tholam ne sachuche.
So basically, with regards to the categorization of the 5 parts, it's the same. But when it comes to the practice of Mahayana path, then we have to
associate 5 parts or four parts in the result.
No, the 4 parts in the
Drivu. Middle, the middle lams is what did that? Because the middle of the Drivu. What is so hard?
The 4 parts and the resultant enlightenment or resultant nirvana. So with these we usually speak of the parts. So when these 4 parts are associated with the practice of bodhicitta, only then they become the part of Mahayana. And with these when these are not associated with bodhicitta, then they are like the common parts of the Hinayan.
Then from the Tonamne.
So from the part of insight, only then we speak of the counting of the 10 grounds.
10 bhumis.
10 bhumis.
So these Dodhisachuen are Sungshabada, Di Deshe Shivadi, Gomulurugi, Rinjitama. Any Pandadata Umajuba. And Sungshandale Yor, the Nyams start Kasore, Yongrab Dise.
So these are further illuminated in the Bodhisattva Bhumi Sutra and Dash Bhumi Sutra and Ratnavali and
Ratnavali, Nagarjuna.
Okay.
Madhyamika Avatara.
Madhyamika Avatara. So these 3 texts further illuminate the detailed account of these parts and grounds.
So, among the audience who have some sort of interest, then read these books. I think original Sanskrit. Umujugo yorbe. Ranamala yorba. This is some text which I mentioned, the original text, Sanskrit text, available. Some may not. So, it is something, Kazoda, really treasure. I have one sort of strange story. De Kasa. The Perlung at Kasa. The Panna University, Pesking. Rahul Sangir, one Buddhist scholar. He, I think, before 1950, he went to Tibet. And I think most probably Samya monastery. With, I think, a little bit, corruption. maybe. I think he gives some money to the monk who look after that temple. So he got some very rare books which was wrote on palm leaf. Palm leaf. I have seen in Demu Monastery also I have seen, I think, at least 20, 30 books. In Podala also, I think at least, dozens books there. I myself saw. And there's Sakya Monastery, and Redung Monastery, and then Samya Monastery. So later all this burned during Cultural Revolution. Now, no longer. So at that time, the Rahul Sanger, he actually stolen some books from Samya Monastery. Then after he reached India, I think by himself or his follower, then those books then presented to Patna Museum. So available now. So his little bit sort of act of thief eventually very, very helpful. Like that. 그저 저래. Oh. The party 가시 저래. 알레. 어. So in any way, now that is the general explanation about the whole Buddhist sort of system. All is based on Four Noble Truth teaching. So the truth of suffering, the suffering of suffering, suffering of change, suffering of
a pervasive composite suffering. The third.
So suffering means mainly here, I think mainly the experience of feeling of pains and pleasure. Now pleasure, worldly pleasure, also is considered now here a kind of suffering, suffering of change, because it often creates more suffering. So basic, very nature is suffering nature. So Buddhists call suffering of change, the obvious pleasure. Then all these, because they dominant by ignorance. So basically suffering nature. So three kind of suffering. Then causes of that suffering, karma and motivation, because of the destructive emotion. Not only destructive, but Denzing 다 충전을 solve. Denzing 충전의 전이 대바도 주제디 지금 미국주 point 지금 주림 다 니중 삼바 맵지 이나 개월에디 가들 보다 가다 코앞 편지를 보다. 그래서 뒤지 요래 뒤 가래. 뭐 개와 아니 가래. 군중 지도 못세래 가래. 식선 줘봐. 그러는 처음에 나올 거사. 안 디슈든 너나 저람 추저 첨불로 내가 맨세 탐제 있는 코앞 편지를 내 쏘고 버려 있어 송샤디. 이봐. 중디 가. 군중을 안 가와 임베스. 대단한 전주 쓰면 뭐지? 돈이 따와야 매 내중 삼바야 매나 지 겨와치셔도 돼. 먼저 룹지 겨와치셔도 돼. 상월로 군중을 안 가와 임베. 콜로 거 이노스. 군중 지도면 사죠. 되거든. 중디. 디 야인도 아시지 요. 근중 지도 있어야지. Now it's not necessary to translate. Now more complication. Actually, among ourselves fail to agree. So better not translate. So that is the cause of suffering. Now the cessation, I already mentioned, the all sort of the negative thing which rose from misconception. So it always possible to eliminate. So elimination, that is cessation. So that cessation not come through something like evolution, but through effort. So that effort, mainly wisdom, because development of wisdom. So that's path, mark, fourth noble truth. So these four noble truth. So now completed lecture on four noble truth. Now some questions now. Yes. I think Meru did it first here. Long time, my friend.
Your Holiness, thank you very much, but I hope you're not encouraging us to steal a few documents from here and there in order to preserve them.
Kasa.
But no, that's not my question.
Oh.
My question was really that you have spoken about these manuscripts and documents over centuries, which seem to be distributed here and there, and there is no central institute, as far as I can see, which actually, from where you can actually access all these. Now, we do have this Central Institute for Buddhist Studies in Leh, which has a very good assortment, very good collection, although limited, of Buddhist manuscripts, including in the Bodhi script, which were of course evolved in Tibet, including the entire writings of Buddha himself. Now, is it not possible to then notify that as a central institute, which also has all these? I'm working towards with the government of India to try and get it upgraded to a university level, but is it not possible to ensure that all these documents are now preserved for posterity in a central institute where they can be accessed from across the country and across the world?
벤주스 중났어. 네. 가.
Leila.
Leh Ladakh.
들어봐. Yes, very good suggestion. I think that can be done. I think location maybe. I think Delhi. I think best. Now I often, you see, expressing. Now it seems many people are showing interest, including some scientists, about sort of, what's it, Buddhist philosophy or Buddhist science, but the facility very limited. So you see, your suggestion, I often used to suggesting that those who say Buddhist or say the sacred places, some museums, the museum is important, but more important is the real teaching. This should make available. I think one project, the revival of Nalanda University. I don't know. What is the latest position? I don't know. So these should not create impression the building some monastery or temple, not that. I think in in ancient time, when Nalanda really, Kasoda, they developed, flourished, I think academic center. So most of the Nalanda scholars, their writing is academic sort of work. Very rare how to carry puja. They mainly explain about the reality, philosophical views, and science. So this we can, I think it is important to make the presentation. These are academic subjects. We are creating learning center, not monastery, not temple. I think it is important to make some distinction. As I mentioned yesterday, you see, we are trying these 3 sections: science, philosophy, religion. So religion, only for Buddhist. But the science and the philosophy, even you see, we Tibetan, we have the tradition. We are Buddhist, but we study the ancient non-Buddhist sort of views quite thoroughly. And many Tibetan scholars wrote commentaries about the non-Buddhist school of thought of India. So that's truly academic subject, right? Not for practice, academic, and make a comparison. So I think that sort of was the tradition. I think make Karuta.
Make it clear. Make the clear distinction.
So I think including Marudara, Rajiv, I think we have a lot of work. I think my talk, few years, I think these also you see can be some kind of because the little flame, make clear, make known more Indian, more scholars, the Buddha Dharma, not simply religion, but the reflection of ancient Indian thought, very rich. So, as an academic center, then I think not much problem. Start in different university as an academic subject. So no need prayer, no need to close eye like that. No. Open eye and more research work. That's much better. Yes, very good suggestion.
Your Holiness, and I will follow this up with the government, and I will also work with your office to try and promote.
Very good, very good. Yes, next question? Yes, yeah.
It's a simple question. Yesterday the lady asked about how can you share pain, and His Holiness mentioned that you go read the scriptures. I share pain through myself, through running. Are we on the right path? Am I on the right path? The second part of the question is,
Clear.
I share my pain
Yes.
with others through my running.
Running, sorry.
Sports. Is it the right path? Or do I also have to read the scriptures only?
It's like complicated philosophy. Really, I don't know what you are saying. What he is saying.
He believes in marathon, in running.
Kasa. Oh, I see.
And he works with even children who are handicapped, who have
Yes.
physical disabilities, and encourages them to engage in sport, in
Right,
physical
right.
activity.
Oh.
So in what ways do you believe that physical activity of that kind can help to a sense, can contribute to a sense of well-being and happiness? And
Yes,
elimination?
physical well-being, no doubt. then also you see physical well-being also connected with mental mental health also, but sometimes opposite. Good physical, strong physical, then a lot of negative things also happen.
My friends sitting there, they also wear specs, and I also wear specs.
Oh,
And they also wear clothes, I also wear clothes. And they also eat food, and I also eat food. And we both are moving towards the ultimate death. So we both are same. The only difference between them and me is how I've cultivated my mind as a carpenter and how they've cultivated their mind as a monk. So how the mind has been cultivated, that's the only difference between the two of us. If that is so, then our karma, what work we do is the highest dharma in this world. Am I
That
right
is
or wrong?
so, then what?
Is it right or wrong? I mean, is the work what we do, I'm as big a monk, as what you are, and you're as big a carpenter as what I am. Am I right or wrong?
but actually, of course, I always state the 7 billion human beings, mentally, emotionally, physically, same. And all 7 billion humanity, please sit down, have the same sort of potential of positive, potential of negative. Then all these ultimately relate with mind, or I think sense of awareness, sense of responsibility. 인다 가지고 그런데 저거도 그래.
지단 그 람다
지고로.
전다 두자 지고 되게 코랑기 뮤직 하는데 되게 열외스.
가.
코랑기 뮤직 두람디 따다 되게 열외스. 되게 당아주 당다 쉐베기 남주 치로 말아마도 지단 뮤직 지고 와. 그래서 뮤직 계단 두람 말아 되게 열외스.
That's complicated sort of complicated thing. Ordinary people, I think basically, very basic level, animals, we also same. Work or effort for survival. And less danger, less fear. Food, shelter, sex, reproduction. Same, that level. And sensory level, same. Now mental level, our brain is much bigger. So intelligence, that is the demarcation, differences, animal, ordinary animal, and we human being. Within human being, say, same potential of intelligence, but you see some people, that intelligence really bring satisfaction or calmness or become very positive. Some cases, that marvelous intelligence really creates a lot of suffering on others. And they themselves also, too much clever, too much ambition, too much sort of vision, right?
No.
Then more worry, more frustration. So our mind is very sophisticated. So some people, I mean, with same sort of potential, but some people, you see, trying to avoid this intelligence should not becoming the negative side. I think usually you see people look our destructive emotion as a part of our mind. And too much anger, hatred, fear, we simply consider that's more or less normal. and too much attachment. Normal. And even you see some cases, you see people consider those people who have too much attachment, too much sort of, because of the anger, too much sort of sense of we and they. Sometimes the people say, oh, these are really because of the courageous or principle. Or consider everybody nice and respect and seems passive way. Silly. I think my first visit in England, 73, one sort of was a meeting or one gathering. Of course, my talk. Then after the talk, you see, I think some reception, what called cocktail reception or something. No? Then one Englishman, very gentle, straightly came towards me, and he expressed he really admire. You often say, I don't know. And I felt, oh, those English seems to say difficult to say, I don't know. Why? It is 100% sure there is almost no one on this planet knows everything. So it is fact. Many things do not know, but they difficult to courage to say or to truthfully say, I don't know. Clear. So there is differences. Looks that gentleman very good, but seems I think he very dare say, I don't know. So I think the reality, I think many things he doesn't know. Like that. So there is sort of, even you see traditions, different tradition. I think yesterday I mentioned, not here, about the story about Mexico, my experience, not here. I think the university, I mentioned, isn't it? You see, one sort of interfaith service, and many years ago in Mexico City, one cathedral and some sort of interfaith service. Some Japanese Buddhists and some Christians, I think some Muslims. So then the Japanese, you see, they, as usual, they carry their rosary. So some kind of prayer. And then she very sort of very dignified way. And she carries some kind of prayer, and rosary go like that. And then somehow the string, the thread of the rosary broke. So then you see the many beads scattered. But still, he still remained like that. What use that? I really felt laugh. If I am that kind of case, I will put the prayer and pick up those beads. That's practical, isn't it? Then, see, when I was young in Lhasa, then I regularly received Life magazine from America. One time, one picture of Queen of England, then young, of course. So I think some ceremony, you see, queens read some speech. Then very much sorrowful. Dignified, solemn. Of course, human beings follow the protocol, also those formality. But wind, don't bother about sort of the protocol. So wind blow, king sort of this part of the cloth like that. I think one funny American photographer usually took that picture. Queen remained reading that, her clothes like that. I think much better. Queen as a human being, I think do it like that. It's much better. So there are, you see, among humanity, a lot of differences. So suppose we are thinking next life, not only next life, but the thousands life, ultimate aim is Buddhahood. So many people feel that's a nonsense, waste of time. So big differences. Next question. What did they? Yes, one here. Yes, you.
My name is Aditya Nehru, Your Holiness. I had one comment rather than a question, if you would permit me to make it. You had asked about a neuroscientific question earlier today, something about neuroscience.
Neuroscience.
Yes, whether a highly educated man's brain is different from that of an ignorant. Whether a highly educated man's brain is different from that of an ignorant mind's brain. Because of his background, I wanted to mention the name of an outstanding Indian neuroscientist, and because of his background, you'd probably be interested in him. First, he's an Indian. Second, he's got a South Indian brain. Third, he is an Iyengar Brahmin and therefore comes from a Pandit background. He has both great knowledge, scientific knowledge of the brain, and a great interest, which is his real interest, in the philosophical and psychological issues which are connected with the brain. And I've heard him say at a lecture that this is his real interest. His name is Ram Chandran. He lives in California, and he is very well known. He may be able to be of some assistance in helping you in this kind of investigation.
Oh, good. Right. He's still living.
Yes, sir. Thank you. He is still living. He's young.
I think we should keep his address. Okay. San Diego. Oh, I see. Oh, next month. Then, no. Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Holiness.
Thank you. Thank you. Next question. Did
I think what the gentleman was trying to allude at, and that's what you also talked about yesterday and today in the morning, the state of readiness or preparedness to accept. So this quest and desire for everything, and then this journey towards nothingness. How does one take that? And then what happens to the purpose in life? If you're a great writer, do you stop writing and then do you give up everything and meditate and take the path towards spirituality? What is really that higher calling in life? And just a tiny little question, this is something that has bothered me from a long time. Is there a spiritual guru for each of us? And when you do meet him, how is it that you know that it is indeed him?
가사. 내가 당구지도 그 다음에 약 마시면 돼.
다음에 된다 비겠다 담아 신발로 좀 타고 싶고 여러 뭐 안다고 지금 바이나 이좀 타고 깨 된다 미진나로 내가 되는 얘기 제단 딱한다 라이터 간도 좀 팅해나 되긴도 이거 봐 유시안에 다양 좀 싸워지 세고래 그렇지 그래. 대 말왜 들어
저. 디지규다. 나왔던지 루어 매바타. 동바 캘린처 고안이 제수 소설 나고 디시도 더둥 투베 공부했다고 매 사치들이.
In Tsongkhapa's three principal aspects of the path, it says the infallible appearances based on the dependent origination and the emptiness which is devoid of any acceptance. So long as you see these two as distinct, unrelated, still you have not understood the real intention of the Buddha.
Now here's something like this. Certain meaning of nothingness and existence so long go against each other, you not yet understand emptiness. Once you develop the proper understanding about emptiness, I mentioned this the other session. Once you get proper understanding about absence of independent existence, that very nature create the possibility of interdependency. So everything exists due to other factor. So interdependency, interconnectedness, it is reality. Now scientists or doctors, you see, whenever they use the holistic, that means things are interrelated. So without sort of notice the interdependency, just to pick up one thing, you cannot see the holistic picture. So therefore, the very matter, the nothingness, is the basis of everything. So as I mentioned, the one coin, one side, one face is emptiness. Nothingness quite often sort of misunderstand, right? Nothingness usually you see carries some kind of wrong meaning. And empty also you see wrong meaning. So the proper understanding. My own case, reading Tibetan, no difficulties. I read, contemplate, debate, listen, explanation. But it took at least, I think, 30 years in order to know something. So not easy. So study more, and once get some sort of interest, while you carry your daily sort of work, you see, as a rest, pausing, few moments, think. Now, for example, I want that. Then think, what's I? Where's I? Then desire and attachment, completely different. Without desire, without wish, no movement, no development. The most important part of practice of bodhicitta is kind of desire. So we have to cultivate, we have to increase that infinitely. So some people get sort of wrong sort of understanding, or Buddhism say, or desire is negative. This sevada davani truth. Seva.
Lustful. Craving. We have to make a distinction between craving and desire.
And also, I think, frankly speaking, I think these detailed definition of different minds, different thoughts, the Sanskrit word, very rich, and Tibetan word, directly translated from Sanskrit, so very rich. English, French, I think still, not adequate. So new translation, different author use different word. So sometimes it creates more confusion, like that. So obviously, in scientific, the material scientist, scientific field, Tibetan word not adequate, very limited. And modern economy, or in many fields, the Tibetan not yet sort of developed. In the spiritual field, in psychology, mind field, Tibetan word very rich. So English not yet developed. So I think the Sanskrit, plenty. So all Tibetan word translated from Sanskrit. Right. So in that field also we need a lot of work. And then also like Paul Ekman, one great sort of scientist about mind, on the his experiment on the basis of
Facial expression.
facial expression. You see, he identify, I think 16 or 20 different thought or different sort of mind. Emotions. So in future, when we try to sort of produce some sort of text, I think his sort of findings also I think should include. So these sort of academic work development, no limit. So it is wrong to think that all the sort of ancient Buddhist text is mentioned, that's sort of fixed. No, we should not sort of fix there. So try to get new information. Then it can be complete. And also I think the proper way, time always move, our work also should move, not fixed on Buddha state that much, then no longer further. That's I think wrong. Isn't it? Do you support? Yes, now. That's look. 12 からち. Oh, second part of your question, no? That also quite serious. Firstly, I think at least 15 years ago, one Chinese from mainland China came to see me. And he asked me, nowadays, from Tibet, some sort of what they call themselves as a Dhammaraja, coming to China, and call themselves as a great teacher of Buddhism. Then many Chinese devotees, you see, they respect or faith. Then eventually, these sort of Dhammaraja actually seeking money and sex. So that person, Chinese, asked me, you should do something. Then I told him, I'm in India. I cannot do anything in China. So then I told him, those Chinese Buddhist devotees must study the qualification of a proper teacher, which mentioned in Vinaya as well as some other sort of textbook. So you should study these things. Then someone coming called Dhammaraja, you should examine. I often telling the audience or the people who supposed to be going to receive some teaching should pay more sort of spy work. These people are truly sort of they qualified or not. Not just 1 hour, 2 hours, or weeks, months. The tantric sort of texts say even 12 years worthwhile to examine that person. Suppose you're going to receive some teaching, must examine very thoroughly. Unless you get full conviction, you should not consider that person as a guru or as a teacher. So I told them, so you should study. In order to become teacher, what qualification need? Whether these qualifications possess that person or not. So I told that. So you yourself also, you see, they should examine. One great Tibetan teacher, I think 10th century or 11th century, when he was dying, he sort of had, say, in the lab of one sort of his main disciple. Then disciple sort of cry, right?
Shed tears.
Tear is a drop on his sort of cheek or something. So then why you are sort of weeping? Then that student told him, up to now, whenever we get some problems, some doubt, we can ask you. Now you are no longer there. To
Guide us.
no. To one sula. To whom I should rely. Then teacher, the dying person, state, you should not rely on human being, human teacher, but text. Text is your guru. Read more text. Study more. I think that is very sound advice. So I may repeat that. Don't hurry to catch up one Lama, one Guru. Then there is danger. Eventually the Guru might exploit you. So better read more books. I think you should, because of that. Again, books also, you should examine. Those reliable books, not like third eye books. So some books, you see, just because of the fantasy survey.
Fantasy.
Tibetan Lamaism or the Lamaism is something very miracle or something. The one day in England, the Kasa, Hubert Hall, Albert Hall, isn't it? Albert Hall, on my talk, full of people. And at the beginning, I told among the audience, there may be just some people who believe I have some kind of miracle power. That's nonsense. And some people may have the feeling Dalai have some healing power. And then I told, that's also nonsense. I myself very skeptical about the healing power. Touch hand and something healing. I very skeptical. Then I told, if there is a real sort of person who have real healing power, then I want to remove itching here and skin disease. Then afterward, I got, I think from some company, some ointment. So that's a real healing power. So I accept it. That's very good. So really, there you see, I think it's quite understandable. You see, the people who showing interest about spirituality, because of their difficulties, they are facing some problems. So in some cases they are quite desperate. So very easily to exploit these people. their self-confidence very weak. They are relying on someone else. Then some other person with bad motivation easily manipulate. So here you remember Buddha state. You are your own master. Oh, Razat, what do you feel? Do you agree? Do you? Kasa? Okay. Yes, now next question. Sudoda. Yes, here.
Yes, it's not really a question, it's a statement. You mentioned several times the connection between modern science and Buddhist understanding of reality. And I'm very struck by, it's amazing how the thinkers of that time, the meditators, without any instruments,
That's right.
could get that far in understanding reality. For example, today modern physics tells us that even our physical body is at several levels. At one level, it's flesh and bone, which is a compound, different compounds. Then you have molecules.
Yes.
Then you have atoms. Then within the atom, you have the electrons, the neutrons, the positrons. And as you go deeper and deeper and deeper, you come to energies. There's no longer matter and no longer particles. Different packets of energy. And as you go deeper, they are more subtle and more subtle and more subtle. And finally, it is now established that every atom is 99.99% space. And what looks solid is 0.01%. And I'm deliberately not using the term empty space.
Kasa?
Empty space.
I'm not using the term empty space. I'm just saying space. Because today quantum physics is saying very clearly, at least the mathematics is showing, that space is not empty.
Yes.
And there is very clear mathematical evidence of what they call, for lack of any other term, as dark matter and dark energy. And the estimates, the calculations are, it occupies 2/3 of space. And so on. So when you come to space, it's not empty, it's not nothing. It seems to be charged with something. So your comments, please.
Now in Kala Chakra Tantra, one sort of term, the space particle. That's the basis of Kasoda, all sort of
Formation of
formation.
formation.
But not mentioned, you see, the sort of the Kasoda, more detailed explanation, but simply mentioned, like you see the dissolution, individual life or body, as well as whole sort of universe. The basically out of 5 elements: solid, liquid, heat, movement. That's air. So then space. So the solid dissolve liquid dissolve heat dissolve air, energy. That dissolve space. Body also like that, and whole universe like that. So the space, there are 2 types of space. One just empty. Another space is in fact its own sort of entity. So the color chakra sort of term, space particle. What kind of space particle? Not mentioned. So in such things, I think because of the collaboration, right?
Collaboration.
Discussion, I think we can identify these things like that. So the energy in tantric sort of practice, usually we the literal sort of word we call inner air. But that, I think, is easily misunderstood. So I usually call energy. Consciousness, the movement of consciousness, there must be energy. So that energy is actually, we call the subtle body. Subtle consciousness, and its body is that subtle energy. The other day I mentioned the person who, after death, clinically dead, still some level, still alive. So that subtle consciousness and the subtle energy is still in the body. So I think eventually the scientific sort of instrument, scientific research may find more sort of more better knowledge through experiment.
Could it be the energy of the Big Bang?
Big Bang.
Energy.
Yeah, that's it.
Consciousness is part of it.
That's right. That's right. From our viewpoint, the Big Bang is not the beginning. The causes of the Big Bang, there must be tremendous energy, tremendous sort of pressure. So that must come from a physical.
It's a composed energy.
Yes. So it is own previous sort of causes. So endless Big Bang. That is Buddhist view. So scientists say only one Big Bang. So for the time being. But scientists, genuine scientists, very open-minded, isn't it? As I mentioned yesterday, I really admire the scientific, genuine scientist. Genuine scientists, their mind is very open. Yes, what do you want?
In physics, there is the theory of the pulsating universe. Many universes pulsating.
Yes.
Many universes, many Big Bangs, many pre-Big Bangs, and continuous Big Bangs and continuous universities. Many
Now it
physicists
said that.
are writing about this.
Really?
Yes.
First time.
And also in the Rig Veda, it talks about this.
I see. I never heard. Have you heard? Several. Multi-universe, that is right. The Big Bang.
They haven't mentioned about multiple Big Bangs. Not for physics.
So logically must be.
They talk about the black substance, but maybe it's consciousness.
That also I don't know. Consciousness, black hasa. Black spot hasa.
Black hole.
Black energy could be consciousness.
I don't know. That I don't know. We have to carry more research work, more discussion. Both, I think, because of the philosophical level as well as because of the scientific sort of research work. So really interest. I'm quite sure sometimes you see people have this sort of view. Science is something mainly matters, material things. The experience, the subjective side, subjective experience. These are in the past outside science. Now, as I mentioned yesterday, the field of science research now wider and wider. I think still develop. This is, I'm quite sure. I think within this century, end of this 21st century, I think our knowledge surely is bigger, more holistic.
Science and matter is same. Science and matter is the same thing, different scale of energy. Einstein says that energy is equal to mass at the speed of light multiplied by itself. So very quick matter is energy. Energy is science.
Better, I don't know, better, maybe. Long time, my friend, one French. So now, you spoke quite complicated subject. I really appreciate. I really appreciate. Takado. Already 5. Okay.